Okay, so what do we do now? We have basically Tateno and Stanley who can change the course of what's gonna happen with Alfred and basically the fate of all of Shibuya. So we'll try to see what happens if we don't send Kanan in. Should I call her Kanan or should I call her Alfred? Because apparently Kanan is not her real name. What was the right call? Should he still pretend? No. Let's see what happens if we don't do that. He couldn't go anywhere until Stanley got there. Tateno knew exactly what he needed to do. What? What's the matter? Oh, what's the matter? Osawa turned and cast a look of confusion back at Tateno and Kanan, both of whom had stopped in their tracks. Is she really a criminal mastermind? She's 20 at best. We'll wait out here, Tateno said. But, I mean, isn't Kanan going to hack the password? There's been a slight change of plans. Go ahead and wait for us at the lab director. Aye, alright. But we don't have much time before Maria develops symptoms. I'll be inside. Please don't keep me waiting too long. With Maria in his arms and a worried look on his face, Osawa hurried through the gate and disappeared from view. Let's see how she reacts to that. I think she notices something, right? What do you think you're doing? Kanan asked. Stiffening as Tateno nudged the barrel of his gun against her spine. You're Alfred, aren't you? I have no idea what you're talking about. It's no use trying to play dumb. Stanley found proof. Before he finished speaking, Kanan seemed to disappear from view. Damn, son, she's quick. She cartwheeled away, really, at blinding speed, too quick for Tateno to keep a bead on her. By the time she'd righted herself, she'd already drawn a gun of her own. Abruptly, he found himself facing her in a stare-down, weapons aimed at one another. Ooh. Then Kanan's phone rang, and she reached to answer it. I guess it's, what's his name? The teacher guy calling her. Don't move, Tateno roared. Did you forget the plan? That might be Hitomi calling. I don't care. Don't you move. If Kanan really was Alfred, the whole plan might be a sham. Tateno kept the barrel of his gun squarely on its mark. Man, he has some real crazy hair in this scene. Kanan let out a little sigh. Have you considered that Stanley might be lying to you? Yes, it's possible. But I need to make sure we avoid a worst-case scenario. Oh, fuck, she's so good-looking. How did they cast someone like that for this role? If you don't let me into the lab, who's going to hack the password? We've got your little decoy. My friends will get the fake alpha to cover up the password. Oh yeah! Kano actually did it, right? Once her phone had stopped ringing, Kanan sighed again. This is why she didn't pick up, right? When they... what's his fucking name? When they confront the teacher guy. And what about Stanley then? There's a jump here. Is he on his way here? Who knows, Tateno said. At that, Kanan lowered her gun. She seemed disturbingly full of confidence. Kanan flipped open her cell phone. Who do you think you're calling? The bomb squad. Tateno adjusted his aim, pointing his gun at the young woman's head. Look, I'm going to call Hitomi and have her clear up these suspicions you have about me. We don't have the time for this right now. Why would Hitomi know about her? It doesn't make any sense. It's Maria that knows about her, and she's unconscious. Wouldn't you agree? Kanan stared back at Tateno's cell phone in hand, waiting for his reply. What if this is a double bluff? What if she actually isn't Alfred, and someone framed her, and, I don't know, Stanley got played? It doesn't matter what Hitomi says. I trust my own judgment. Stop. This is the sort of nonsense we don't have time for right now. Let's try to be reasonable. Kanan shook her head, then put her phone away. Oh yes, I think we just stopped the explosion. If you're really Alfred, then you don't actually need to hack the password, Tateno said. I'm guessing you've already gotten it from Tanaka. Which means you'll be able to get your hands on the antiviral as soon as you get into that lab. She didn't know the password though. She had to hack it still. So did Tanaka not tell her, or what's going on? Kanan didn't so much as flinch. The only thing stopping you is the antiviral still in Hitomi Ozawa's body. Possessing the antiviral and having a monopoly on it are two very different things. You want to eliminate Hitomi. That's why you lured her down to the scramble. Am I wrong? If that's true, then how am I planning on getting rid of her? Using this so-called substitute alpha or something? Yes, that's right. Leland, that's his name. Sorry, I just kept thinking about it. Tateno couldn't be certain, but he couldn't think of any other way. Kanan let out a laugh. You don't know the first thing about Alfred, she said, which sounds oddly weird coming from Alfred himself, herself, whatever. Alfred keeps the outlines of his plans blurred so that his deliberate actions just get lumped in with the coincidences. That's the crux of all his plans. That's how he's able to pull off his schemes by himself. He'd never solicit help from a third party, which is exactly what others would think, and bam, there you have them. You got them by the throat because they think, oh no, Alfred would never solicit help from a third party, as she says. The words seemed like they were Kanan's, but also seemed like they were Alfred's. Fuck, that's spooky, Tateno thought. With his gun still at the ready, Tateno got out his phone and called Kano. Ooh, this is new. The young detective was quick to pick up. Detective Tateno? What's going on? You need to get Hitomi Ozawa to safety immediately. Alfred isn't trying to get at her blood. He wants her eliminated. What? Hurry. Yes, sir. Once he'd gotten Kano's confirmation, another jump, Tateno hung up. I love and look forward to these jumps. And now your little plan has been foiled, Tateno said. What if she wanted this to happen? Oh yeah, look at her. This is the kind of unhinged and crazy smile that I love in a woman. Kanan snorted. Has it now? If I really am Alfred, then all I need to do is eliminate you here and head right into that lab. Even without her gun raised, she still radiated intimidation. Yeah, she's a close combat expert. Right? Tateno might have had her at gunpoint, but he could feel the threat of her presence like a gathering storm. Eliminate me? He said, doing his best to mask any sign of weakness. You're the one who doesn't have your gun ready. I don't need my gun, Kanan said simply. And why's that? Because you can't shoot me. What? What's that supposed to mean? Kanan glared sharply at Tateno. Her look pierced him like a blade. Did she sabotage his weapon or something? Then she quirked an unsettling smile and took a step closer to him. Don't move, he warned. Tateno said, try anything funny and I'll make sure you regret it. Sorry. Or, I don't want to pull this trigger if I don't have to. Let's go for the try anything funny. Come on. I want to see what happens. I really want to see how she gets out of this. He kept his gun trained on the center of her chest. You can't shoot me. Kanan took another step closer. You're still traumatized from the time you let your friend's wife die. How do you know about that? Yamero! How do you know about that? Oh my god, I call this exact reaction. Tateno was shaking now, his aim wavering. I heard you talking with the younger detective up on that rooftop. That was right, she had been there. Let's test my theory out. Kanan pointed her index finger at her own heart. If you think I'm Alfred, then shoot me, right here. Huh? Oh, look at her. Although she doesn't look quite as cute with her mouth twisted up like that. You can't do it, can you? Tateno's gun hand shook all the more. You're afraid to pull the trigger. It was as if her words were a spell. Were a spell that she was casting over him. There's a she too much in there. You can hardly even stand the thought of pointing your gun at someone. Oh my god, yeah, he's losing it. Tateno shook his head violently back and forth, but he couldn't get Kanan's word out of his head. Just keep Maria safe, that's your job. That's what Stanley had said. And he was right. Don't hesitate. Don't think. Look at these luscious wet lips. This was Alfred, a sadistic terrorist. He just needed to trust himself and pull the trigger. Pull it! There was a horrid, visceral sound. Gastric fluids rushed up Tateno's throat. Oh my god, he pitched forward onto his hands and knees and vomited on the spot. The sensation of pulling the trigger, the recoil in the wake of the shot, it was exactly as it had been all those years ago. He never wanted to fire a gun again. At this point, he'd probably never be able to. Where were you even aiming? The voice had come from right in front of him. She looks way cuter in this one. I really like her hair somehow, I don't know why. He looked up to see Kanan standing right there. His heart began hammering like mad. This was the end. He braced himself for oblivion, even as his body cried out to survive. There was the dull roar of a gunshot, and then silence. Tateno, you absolute chucklefuck. One last shot. Number 85. The game doesn't even give me any hints anymore because it just assumes that I know what to do here. In this last stretch. So let's see. Aiming at Kanan. I think they're both gonna end at the same bad end. But let's just take a look. Let's see what happens if we don't want to pull the trigger. Oh, come on. Yes. I don't want to pull the trigger if I don't have to. It's not that you don't want to pull the trigger. It's that you can't pull the trigger. Kanan took another step closer, and I think you're still traumatized from that time you let your friend's wife die. Yes, this is exactly the same. Oh no. She's gonna kill him. We can't even really go back, so I'm just gonna go out. What else? Calling Hitomi. No, actually, you know what? I think we switched stuff up plenty already, so... Oh, we can't jump. We can't jump to Stanley? Maybe I just have to continue with Stanley on his own. Look at this. I can't jump. 1850. Let's see. We can't just do it like that. I think we just prevented the explosion, which means everything is opened up again. 1850 to the lab. Let's see what happens. He's not gonna die. Tateno's not gonna die immediately, at least, so stuff is way different. State of high alert, yes, blocked off. Any moment now, Kano's team would be putting the plan into action, yes. Please stay safe. Don't you dare die on me. Stanley prayed silently as it darted underneath the railway overpass. I love the music in this game, it's not too intrusive. You can keep listening to it for hours on end. He made it to his car, still parked on the roadside, and fortunately beyond the blocked off area. Jumping in, he sped off towards the laboratory. Let's see if he can reach it in time. Oh no, it's a keep out. Okay, now we can clear the keep out though, possibly with the jump, right? If we go over here, finally we can jump to Stanley. It's just, I don't know why the game wanted me to do that. It's a little bit redundant. But we're gonna do it. Stanley, here we go. Clear the keep out, get in the car, and drive to the laboratory. Bum, 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 bum. As he drove along, Stanley again tried to deduce Alfred's plan of action. Oh yeah, he's the smartest guy of all the protagonists. I can only hope he puzzles it all together before the end. If Alfred herself was on the way to the lab now, then what was the objective of the fake who'd been sent to the Scramble? Time? And he's possibly armed to the teeth with explosives and stuff? To act as a decoy to get Hitomi's blood, indiscriminate terrorism. I think it's both A and C, but let's go with the decoy. Surely that was the imposter's purpose, but it wouldn't be a simple matter of providing a brief distraction. Alfred had been careful to wipe out almost everyone she'd associated with in the past. That was precisely why all of her defining characteristics, such as age and sex and nationality, had been unknown. It was unthinkable that she'd allow this decoy, who almost certainly knew who she really was, to stay alive. And since Hitomi carried the antiviral in her body, Alfred likely wanted to get rid of her as well. In all likelihood, the terrorist mastermind was planning to steal the antiviral from the lab, but as long as some of it remained in Hitomi's bloodstream, she wouldn't have a monopoly on it. Aha! Stanley suddenly blurted aloud. He just realized what Alfred hoped to accomplish at the Scramble. She meant to eliminate both Hitomi and her own decoy at the same time. The question was, how? Beginning with the bombings in Chicago, Alfred had made frequent use of remote-controlled explosives. It was likely that she'd opt for something similar here as well. But she wasn't going to be at the Scramble herself. So how in the world was she going to trigger the explosion? Was there some clue to be found in something she'd said or done earlier? Think. I want them to call me so I can tell him the password. Or he tells me the password. Try to remember. Think. Try to remember. If he didn't do something, everyone at the Scramble was probably going to die. Then, as he desperately racked his brain, he remembered something Kano had said. It had been a while they were at the scene of the minivan explosion together. He said he heard a cell phone ringtone at the time of the explosion. Not sure if that's significant though. Oh yeah, that was Minori Kawa. Stanley recalled a recent exchange between Alfred and Hitomi. The two had called each other cell phones. Alfred hadn't really been checking to make sure she had the right number. She'd been checking to make sure Hitomi hadn't changed her ringtone. That was it! The bomb was set to detonate in response to a specific piece of music. It would be far easier to just set it to detonate as soon as you ring a specific phone, but okay. This is really... Just imagine someone singing this or something, and then accidentally blowing up half of Shibuya. And the ringtone on Hitomi's phone was the trigger. Where could the bomb be hidden then? Stanley didn't have the time to think. He needed to alert Kano and the others right away. As he pulled out his phone again, he recalled the map of the stakeout positions. Kano would probably be right next to the decoy Alfred. It might be a mistake to call him under the circumstances. Maybe he couldn't risk calling Kano, but he could call Achi. Stanley dialed Achi Endo's number. Please, don't let me be too late, he muttered to himself as he waited for the call to connect. Achi was quick to pick up. Jump. Mr. Stanley, what's going on? Oh, keep out again. Do we have to jump back and forth, or can I just use... Oh no, I can't use this Kano. I think I used this Stanley, so we have to use this Achi. We can't use this Achi. We might have to just go forth with these guys. I guess Achi has to pick up first. And then we might get a jump or something. Why did he still seem so confident? It's just a bluff. He knows he can't get away. Can we skip that? Yes. At least a little bit, I guess. Damn it! Achi launched into motion, but he's not gonna do it because Kano... Oh no, he did it! Nice catch! The gang members broke out into cheering and applause. Achi got to his feet and looked around but saw no sign of either Kano or Alfred. Hey Achi, if you're looking for the detective... Sumu gestured with his chin. Achi looked and saw Kano far away across the Scramble chasing after Alfred. The right thing to do. Soon both men were lost in the crowd. Achi would have charged off in pursuit as well, but his wounded leg made it impossible. Get him, detective! He murmured under his breath. We're counting on you. This should end either in a keep out or make us be the one being called. Yeah, it's a keep out. Okay, so I think now we can jump to Achi. Do we want to do the Kano thing while we're at it? Oh, there's a jump to Stanley here. What? Maybe we can use this one. Who's calling whom? Kano dialed up Osawa? He recalled his last exchange with Stanley? Okay, we're gonna use that, man. The jumps are all over the place today. Jesus, okay, no, this is the first jump to Stanley. We don't want that. We don't want that. This is an old jump. I'm sorry, I forgot. I should have taken a look at the time. Anyway. which means we're gonna get to this point, but don't jump this time and see what happens. Boop, boop. The phone rang several times before Osawa picked up. Okay. It's Kano. I have the password. Ah, are you serious? Osawa blurted in shock. Here, let me give it to you. This is new, isn't it? Are you ready? Yes. 59FBAI4QL1. As he passed along the alphanumeric sequence, Kano kept his eyes on Palmer. The man stared back at him with an expression of bitter defeat. Why did he know the password? What's the point in giving him the fucking password, Alpha? There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Then at last, Osawa's excited voice came through. That did it! It opened! The lock opened! Get in there and close it behind you. You don't want either Tateno or Alpha to get in. Kano let out a deep breath of utter relief. Ooh, he's planning something. Palmer snorted. You're really satisfied with catching me and saving the life of one girl? I suppose it's Japanese way to forget the pain that's been visited upon you. But it's not over. The bloodshed will continue. All over the world. Women, children, the elderly, innocent, all will bleed. Because absolute justice is on our side. He's crazy, isn't he? Is that right? Ouch. Fucking Kano. Dishing out justice one fist at a time. Kano drove his fist into Palmer's face. There was no such thing as absolute justice. It was that kind of blind faith that kept the world in conflict. Well, this sure is quite the mess. Oh, well, this sure is quite the mess. It's Kosei. Whirling around in surprise, Kano saw Kosei standing there. Director Kosei! He bowed his head apologetically. He may have apprehended the criminal mastermind, but only because he'd ignored the direct order to place Maria under quarantine. I'm sorry, sir, but I... Save the apology, Kosei interrupted. You're the one who solved the case. You did good, kid. Once again, Kano bowed, this time even more deeply. Oh, and one more thing, Kano. Yes, sir? Sasayama has regained consciousness. I thought you'd like to know. Oh, yes. Thank you, Director. Sasayama, they were able to save him? I got a call from the hospital. Looks like he's going to pull through. That's great. Really great news. Tears of relief came to Kano's eyes. It's not over yet, Kano. And if Osawa was able to get the lock at the lab open, he should also have been able to get Maria the antiviral without any further difficulty. Someone really needs to let Kano in on the secret. Seriously. Kano dragged Palmer to his feet, then undid the handcuff from his own wrist, using it to properly bind his captive. The metal ring snapped shut with a soft, satisfying click. Palmer limply hung his head. It was over. It was all finally over. It really had been quite a day, Kano reflected. Beyond all the challenges he'd faced, he had come face to face with his own shortcomings. Now he knew what a long way he had to go to be the man he wanted to be. But at least, he'd learned what it truly meant to be a detective. Kosei was muttering to himself nearby. I mean, you don't even look alike, but... The director shook his head and cleared his throat. You know, Kano, for a second there, you look just like Tateno. Really, sir? I get the feeling that Kosei's voice is getting ever higher. Kano smiled, fussing sheepishly with his hair. Kosei's words were the finest praise he could have asked for. Someday, he hoped he really might be a detective like Tateno. No, he decided he would be. And until then, he'd never give up on that dream. It might be a long, long road, but he would walk it. What a beautiful end for Kano. Kano looked up into the sky. The neon lights of the city shone from all over. This was the same old Shibuya that it always was, but one that he looked at now with new eyes. That's very dramatic, Kano. Man, I'd love to visit Tokyo and Shibuya one day. That's one of my dreams, really, going to Japan. It's so expensive though. And I still can't properly speak the language. Oh, what a keep out.